branded items. So what does that mean? It means that we help women who have an overabundance of clothing in their closet, and we help them sell online. Jadi misalnya kalau perempuan-perempuan di sini pasti suka shopping kan, terus kalian sering juga bosen sama bajunya. Nah kalau misalnya udah bosen bisa jualan di Tinkerlust.com. And kenapa kita mulai Tinkerlust.com? Yeah, because I realized that this is a problem that many females have. So that's why we decided to start it, which was around 4 years ago in 2016. So sekarang dalam 4 tahun ini, setiap bulan kita ada 180K social media followers dari Facebook dan Instagram. So don't forget to follow our Instagram, Tinkerlust ID, and visit our website. So if you guys want to just check up www.tinkerlust.com, then you can see what Tinkerlust is all about. We have 2.2 million users, and obviously our market is mostly female because this is why we created Tinkerlust, for helping females. And as a female myself, I understand females more. So Tinkerlust is bringing luxury to the masses. Jadinya kan kalau misalnya dulu mungkin we can only dream, kita cuma bisa mimpi kayak punya Hermes atau LV, tapi kalau misalnya belanja di Tinkerlust, harga-harganya tuh udah terjangkau sekali, karena people resell it on a very, very good discount. Tapi Tinkerlust sebagai platform, we make sure that every single item is still in good condition. Jadi kalau misalnya belanja di Tinkerlust, you still have very good quality items. So our mission is to educate women about the environment benefit of shopping secondhand, because the fashion consumption is actually one of the most dangerous polluters in the world. So around the world, the number 2 polluter is actually from fashion consumption, misalnya dari fast fashion atau kayak bahan-bahan yang nggak bisa di recycle gitu. So one of the Tinkerlust's mission is actually to educate women that they are able to shop secondhand, they are able to shop very good fashion on on a more affordable cost, and also extend the life cycle of an item. So what does it mean to extend the life cycle of an item? So dulu sekitar 20 tahun yang lalu, people were first introduced to fast fashion. So fast fashion like Zara, H&M, Forever 21, you have every day there's new styles. So people are consuming more and more and faster and faster. However, they're wearing their clothes less and less. Jadinya the life cycle becomes shorter and shorter. While if you think 30 to 40 years ago, people actually shop not that much, and then they would wear their items much longer. So this is the consumer behavior that's happening now as a result of fast fashion. And Tinkerlust wants to solve that. We want to give Zara a longer shelf life. We want to give Louis Vuitton a longer shelf life so that the fashion consumption can be decreased. Gitu. That is one of Tinkerlust's main missions. So let's go to Tinkerlust's values and roles. So we have 3 pillars. We want to provide a solution for women for their unused items. The second one is introduce living simply, such as minimalist fashion and spending less. And finally, contribute to sustainable fashion. Di Indonesia, edukasi tentang sustainable fashion tuh masih berkurang. Kalau misalnya we go to America or we go to West Europe, sustainable fashion is part of the lifestyle because they understand how if we shop for fast fashion, it is actually endangering the environment. And the benefits of shopping secondhand as well, because when you shop, you actually decrease your spending. So actually, it's a very smart way to save. So Tinkerlust's role is we become a platform. So we want to help the seller and the buyer we are not the ones that own the items. So we have thousands of sellers and thousands of buyers that they buy on Tinkerlust. We want to promote recycled swapping and also rental of items. And we want to support the circular economy. So the circular economy is about how we can recycle more. So it's about extending the life cycle, about buying, recycling, and making sure that everybody understands the process. So that's one of the ways that we want to contribute to the circular economy. So when we started Tinkerlust, the reason why we did it online was because previously there was already many solutions for secondhand fashion, but it was all offline. So we wanted to bring this problem online, and this is how we understood how technology played a part into our business. So before I get into that, I wanted to introduce technology as a whole. So technology across industries is increasing upwards 100 trillion over the next 10 years. So what that means is the economy is fueled by technology, and that is how many industries are going to gain revenues because of their use of the technology and the societal benefits. So going back to this, the societal benefits in Indonesia, for example, has been increased education. Like, for example, example of the technology benefits is right here. While we can do e-learning, while everybody is at home, we're using a platform, which is Zoom. So access to education, access to healthcare, access to professional work environment. So this is how the economy keeps on running, the dependency of many industries on technology. So technology has supported an explosion in the world's population over the past 200 years. So when we think of technology, we might only think of digital computer software, but that's actually not the case. Technology has existed for hundreds of years, and there has been a revolution many times. So there has actually been in history, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history lesson. We have experienced 3 digital and tech revolutions. So the first revolution was actually in the 1700s, and that was the invention of steam engines, and that enabled us to move faster. So usually a revolution occurs when the population is getting too big and we need to move faster. So the rapid increase of population needs us to move faster, needs us to move more effectively and more efficient. So the first one was in the 1700s with the mechanical revolution. The second one was science and mass production. So that was the time of Henry Ford, when we got our first cars and they were built in the factory. So we went from an agriculture to a more manufacturing. And then the third one was in the 1950s, when it was the digital revolution. So that was the first time we were introduced to computers and, fax machines and communication, long distance communication. And now we are actually entering, or we are in the midst of our fourth revolution, which is the digital 4.0 revolution, where it's talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics. So to understand the digital hemisphere, we really need to kind of go back and understand why this exists. And one of the main reasons is that we need enablers for humans to move faster, to move more effectively and efficiently, so that we can keep up with the necessities of production and productivity. So it is very important for the business landscape for us to understand how digital affects consumerism, right? And the thing is, I was actually a psychology major in undergrad. So I was a psychology and economics major. So when you talk about economics and then you talk about psychology, that in between is actually understanding consumer behavior. So we really want to understand, okay, why do people buy what they buy, and how our trends form, how our pricing mechanics form, what is the supply and demand analysis, that all of those facets affect consumer behaviorism. So now understanding digital and the technology, we now go into how does it affect business? How does it affect you as a professional? And if you were to go into your career next year or next semester, where should you focus on? So digital has changed how buyers buy and how marketers market. So before technology, before digital e-commerce and everything like that, you would go into a store, think there's no Tokopedia, there's no Gojek. You would go into a store and you would look around and you would see what you would want to buy. And then perhaps if you went to a big store, a sales associate would come to you and ask you several questions like, udah pernah kesini, mau cari apa, harga yang mau dicari apa, gitu kan. So a lot of different questions they would ask you. And you would tell them, okay, oh, I'm looking for something for my husband. Okay, so you go into one section. I'm looking at a price range of 100 sampai 200 ribu. So then you would go there. And then after that, they would ask you, okay, have you shopped here before or have you not? Is this something new? So these are all the questions that one sales associate would take and help you. But now, when you go online on an e-commerce website, all of that information is tracked based on how you are behaving on the website. So how many minutes you're spending on the website. For example, what pages you go. Do you go to the male section? Do you go to the female section? What size you go to? So all of this is affected. And this is a change about how they market to you as well. The more data they collect, the more personalized your experience can be. So in terms of the future, in terms of luxury goods alone, or in terms of fashion, we see a huge increase in purchases and transactions. So this is one of the many ways that you can see a lot of the growth that you will see in retail and in many industries will be online. For example, currently advertising spend is only less than 10%, but we see that the boost will increase very dramatically. Okay, so as I mentioned, 4 out of 5 consumers desire some kind of content personalization. So what that means is, if you go back to the model of when you go to a store and the sales clerk would ask you questions, now you go onto the website and based on your actions, you can get personalized recommendations. For example, if you ever go on Instagram and misalnya lagi nyari, kayak I just moved into an apartment, right? So jadinya aku sering browsing furniture stores. Tiba-tiba besoknya ngelihatnya advertising tentang furniture semua. So that is a type of content personalization. And so the more you use your online, actually you'll get more content personalization. And you might not even recognize it because it is so subtle. But when you go on Tokopedia, when you go on Shopee, it happens. You'll see the advertising that relates to you to increase the likelihood of a transaction on the website. So that is good for the marketer, that's good for the company, but also good for the consumer because it saves my time. So one of the most important principles is that connection is key. Being online allows you to have more connection with your consumer. So now that we understand a little bit about just a general understanding about digital, I wanted to talk about digital disruption. So digital disruption is happening quite frequently in many, many, many industries. In Indonesia, it's happening across industries. For example, one of the industries that probably you are all familiar with is logistics. Before, maybe 5 years before, we could only transport ourselves with an object or a taxi. But now with digital disruption, the transportation industry has been disrupted by Gojek, which we see many startups disrupting older players. So I want to kind of focus on this for now. How do huge companies like Bluebird, get disrupted by like smaller companies like Gojek, How does that happen? Number one is that technology, as powerful as it is, it is much more accessible to the market and the masses. So if you think about it, right, Gojek itu is successful not because of the app, but because of Google Maps. So this is kind of very important for you guys to understand. The platforms that people create enable the market and the masses to have more of an equal opportunity to succeed in the various industries. So we'll get to that in a different slide. So the emergence of these new digital product services causes the need for reevaluation of the current company. So as soon as Gojek was launched, 1 year later, Bluebird came up with an app. A year after that, Gojek and Bluebird worked together. Yeah. So this is one of the main things. This is one of the main concepts of digital disruption. Technology allows value creation so that the potential profit increases for that company. So, for example, an industry now is able to access new consumers in a different way so that their revenue and their profits are also increased. So, the most important thing for older companies to do is to be flexible enough to adopt to digital. If not, then these new startups will actually slowly take over their market. Okay, I'm going to take a break right now. Tanta, is there any problems with my presentation so far in terms of the tech? Am I going too fast or?
No, it's okay.
It's good? Okay. So I'll keep going. Thank you. So going back to this, the value creation from expanding profit pools. So these companies like Bluebird, I'm going to keep using this example because I think it's very close to home. Like Bluebird, when they recognized the opportunity of digital, they ventured into it. However, without Gojek competing with them, they wouldn't have had the bravery to actually invest in that risk. Because older companies, when they invest in digital tools, it's actually a bigger risk to them. Startups, because they have less overhead, less plans, less infrastructure, they're able to move faster. So this is kind of a little fact that is really interesting. It used to take a Fortune 500 company an average of 20 years to reach $1 billion valuation. So that means if a company was created 20 years ago, usually it takes kurang lebih 20 tahun untuk mencapai unicorn status, which is being valued at $1 billion. Today, digital startups are getting there in an average of 4 years. So Gojek was started in 2014, and they reached $1 billion valuation around 4 years later. So it's very hopeful for any potential entrepreneur that if they use technology right and they understand what the market is missing, there's a huge opportunity for revenue and value creation. But it's not that easy, right? You always have to go back to how you're actually impacting that industry. How are you going to give back to that industry? And now the competition it's much harder. So once you become kind of the leader and you are the first mover, it's quite difficult to kind of move, difficult to kind of jump into that industry. Tapi tetap sekarang ya masih banyak industri yang masih belum di disrupt. Kayak B2B industry itu masih banyak, healthcare masih belum di disrupt, banking juga susah banget untuk di disrupt karena banyak there's a lot of regulation sama OJK. So we see those kind of industries that have higher regulations to be harder to disrupt. Yeah. Okay. So as I mentioned, digital disruption is happening. And there's 3 reasons why it's happening. Number 1 is tools, number 2 is platform, and number 3 is the consumer. So the platform, for example, is the tools, the platforms that are available to you. So if I wanted to become a music star, for example, I could go on YouTube and start my music channel. That is a platform that I'm using. If I wanted to start, if I wanted to open a shop and sell vitamins, or I wanted to sell my collection of used cars, I can make an online shop using Shopify. So these are all different platforms. And if you can even go even smaller than that and have a huge potential and become a Tokopedia seller. So these are all of the reasons why digital disruption is happening, the platform. Number 3 is the consumer. In Indonesia alone, digital consumerism is aggressively growing. So that means that the consumer themselves are ready to go online, are ready for newer and more advanced technology solutions. So we are getting smarter as a consumer, so we are expecting the businesses to be smarter as well. So that's another thing that we have to understand, that a lot of the companies who don't serve the consumer are getting left behind or going through bankruptcy. One of the examples that I can give you is BlackBerry or even Nokia. So BlackBerry and Nokia, they were, if we look, I don't know, 20 years ago, they were the leaders. BlackBerry mungkin 10 tahun yang lalu ya, Nokia 20 years ago. They were the leaders of mobile technology. And they did not want to accept certain trends. Like, for example, BlackBerry, they didn't want to accept the touch screen. So iPhone leaped ahead. So that's one of the main reasons of digital disruption, when the consumer themselves are ready for a change, yet the company or the business or the product is not understanding the consumer. So how can you prevent digital disruption? So 4 things to examine is your business model, your operating model, your consumer segment, and your team readiness. And because you guys are students, and I don't think many of you have had that much extensive professional expertise, I will probably just go very, very briefly in this. So the business model is you have to look at your business and see if you can use technology to help it create more revenue and more market growth. So if you can use technology to perhaps do more marketing, or you can serve your customers better. The second one is operating model. So how do you use technology inside your company? So at Tinkerlust, we are very technology driven. For example, in our operations, we use technology. We have 5 different technology platforms that we use just in-house for our HR, for our logistics planning, for our warehousing. We also use it to plan our project management, and then even our accounting and finance. So we use technology all around. And the best part of technology there, it really increases productivity. Jadinya waktu Tinkerlust baru launch itu, kita masih pakai Excel buat semua accounting dan segala macamnya. And then we decided to incorporate accounting software, and it increased our productivity so fast, and it really allows us to save more money and save more time for our team. We don't have to hire more people. So technology is important because it increases productivity. And the thing is, you guys are millennials, so you are technology native. You probably don't even know how to do it the manual way, right? My daughter, she's in 2nd grade and she already has a computer class. And so you guys are really lucky that perhaps the first time you learn something is actually with technology. The second one is improved agility. So agility means how fast a company can move and how flexible a company can move. So with technology, because there is less people between decision making, we can actually move much faster. And the reason is data is much easier for us to look at. An example of Tinkerlust is every single day, we know exactly how much sales we're doing. And we usually know where those sales come from. So for example, if we're doing a marketing campaign, we know exactly how influential this marketing campaign is. If we see that this marketing campaign is not doing well, we do something else. And that's an example of how technology allows us to get all of the information so that we can make a change and do swift decision making. The third one is better communication. So better communication is, being able to be wherever you are and still communicate. Tinkerlust we have 80 employees and we are all working from home except our operations team. And they are still at the office because they work with our items. And even though we're working from home, the productivity still happens and it still increases as we get more and more effective with our new SOP. But technology is why we're able to communicate. The fourth is enhanced marketing. So I had already given you an example of how the more data that we have and can absorb, the better that we can market as well. And the fifth is increased transparency. It's very hard to lie or to do fraud when there is proof and there is backlogs of transparency. So one of the main aspects of a digital business is that you are able to look at any part of the data of your business, from your sales, your revenue. One of the things that we actually do at Tinkerlust is we analyze human resource patterns. So each month, our HR will analyze the data of our human resources, how long they've been there, how many hours they spend a day. So all of those things increase the transparency of a company. So one of the other things is team readiness. Not all companies are equipped to become a digital business, but one of the main things that we have to make sure of is that each member of the team is ready to be a digital individual. So here's the thing: what happened in Indonesia 2 to 3 to 4 years ago was that there was a boom in digital businesses. So when there was a boom in digital businesses, a lot of the jobs that were available was digital, support. So for example, like project management, user interface. So I know a lot of psychology majors actually end up going into organizational management. And so this is one of the key items that HR is very important in, is understanding how ready the team is into becoming digital. So in Indonesia, when there was a boom in the digital landscape, the human resource population was not ready to support that. So there were many individuals in the workforce. That's always the scenario here in Indonesia because we're a human-rich country. But the skills that they had was not digital because before 5 years ago, we weren't very much a digital economy. Now it's changing. So in the universities, you can also see that the curriculum is changing to support the growth in the digital economy. So one of the things is team readiness, individual readiness of people to contribute in the digital economy. So the second one is create a learning culture. So for those individuals already in the company who are not digital savvy, the company must support their learning so that they can catch up and they can contribute to the company. And number three is communication. So we need to understand the level of our current teams and of our current individuals, how they are digital savvy or not. And if they're not, then we have to equip them with the right resources. So one of the things is technology and digital is moving at a very, very fast pace. Even me, I'm in the digital world, and it's quite hard for me to keep up. It's quite challenging. For example, before, we always did Facebook marketing. And then after that, we included Instagram marketing. And now, just this month, we will be starting to do TikTok marketing. I had to Google myself, like, what is TikTok? But that's the thing, we always have to continuously learn. And we have to understand that the digital climate is always changing and so very fast. So we always just have to keep up. And we also have to push our team to keep up. And we, as leaders, have to understand that our team who are younger may know more and may be more in touch with digital than we are. The fourth thing is focus on the process. So digital, one of the things is there's an SOP to it. So you sign in, you look at your dashboard, you understand that there is an SOP, a standard operating procedure. So that's exactly what you have to do to employ to your company as well. So this is my fourth topic, which is e-commerce in Indonesia. And before we talked about Tinkerlust, and then we talked about the entire digital climate, and then we talked about the digital disruption. So digital disruption in Indonesia and how to prevent that. And now I want to talk about e-commerce, because e-commerce industry, this is one of the industries that have been digitally disrupted. So the retail industry has been digitally disrupted by e-commerce. So this is an example of what we just talked about. So Indonesia has the highest rate of e-commerce use in any country in the world. So 90% of Indonesia's internet users between the ages of 16 to 64 report that they already buy products and services via online. So not this, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that 90% of Indonesians are online. We are one of the, our digital right now is more than 30%, but 90% of that 30% is on online buying and online shopping. So this is a little bit more information. So you can see 96% searched online, 91% visited an online retail store or site, 90% purchased a product or service, 29% made an online purchase via laptop and desktop computer, 79% made an online purchase via mobile phone. Okay, so let's talk about two main statistics here on the slide. Number one is the combination of the 29% laptop and the 79% on mobile phone. Indonesians are much more comfortable on mobile phone, and many more people have a mobile phone rather than a laptop, and that's why we see that 80% are having mobile phone. We see that actually most people don't have a standalone phone. Most people have a mobile phone, and that's where most of their transactions and most of their activity is taking place. So one of the things that we have to understand here is that even though people are not looking on their laptop, doesn't mean that there is no online activity, because it is happening on mobile phone. For Tinkerlust alone, 70% of our transactions are happening online. And every time we create our website, every time we create our marketing or we do a redesign, we do mobile first. So we assume that our users are mostly on mobile phones. So there's no reason for us to concentrate on laptop and personal computer. We concentrate more on the design and how it looks on mobile, because people are actually using their mobile for most of their activities. So if we can see, Tokopedia is on the top. And if you guys, we're in a very unfortunate situation right now with being at home, but every single online shop has experienced an increase in orders. And from Tokopedia to Blibli, Bukalapak, they are the companies that will be saving us through this COVID, because they are able to satisfy our transactions while we're at home. And they have experienced a very healthy growth. So I was we're in the same group as Blibli, and they have experienced more orders during this time. And it's one that Indonesians should be grateful that there is opportunities for us to shop online and get the necessities that we need without going to the grocery store or to the shops. Just gonna have a glass of water. Okay, so yeah, one of the things here is that with COVID and with us staying at home, the mobile apps and the online transactions for shopping online is actually increased, which is a great thing for them, right? So revenue in e-commerce has greatly increased. So this is an amazing opportunity also for small entrepreneurs to have access to marketing. So right now, many organizations like Islamic Development Bank and the World Bank are actually helping mom and pop small kampung villages shops to get on these platforms, so that they now have access to the rest of Indonesia. So this is kind of what's happening, and e-commerce is one of the main supporters of entrepreneurship all over Indonesia. So the online commerce market in Indonesia will grow 8-fold over the next 5 years, which will have socioeconomic benefit in major areas. Number one, financial benefit. So this is, one of the ways, as I mentioned, Tokopedia, Shopee, these online applications are going to allow for a lot of the Indonesian economics to be supported. So financial benefits. Number two is job creation. Anybody can open a store on Tokopedia and create a new job for themselves, a new micro store. Number three is buyer benefit. So when you are online, you are also able to see how prices are different, and you can compete more between online shops. So definitely a buyer benefit. And social equality. So more citizens are able to get more access to better online shopping products. So the drivers of economic growth in Indonesia, specifically in e-commerce, is number one, the growing segment of the middle class. So if you look at the Indonesian population, more than 50% are younger than 30 years old. So we are in our productive years. So that means that we have that extra disposable income to spend, and where that disposable income is spending is through online shopping. And so that is one of the main drivers of this e-commerce growth. So when we look at e-commerce in general, 70% of consumers are actually women in e-commerce. So we're going to talk about how they're sellers and how they're buyers. So 70% of the players in e-commerce are actually women. So this is the consumer spending how women influence e-commerce. From home furnishings, vacations, even automobiles and electronics are made by females. And why is that? It's not because they have more money. It is because that they are making the decisions in the household. So they are actually the ones making the decision. And companies are actually understanding more and more how to market to women and how to engage women, because they are eventually the decision makers. So maybe even when it is a single household and men are the main contributor, women are making the decisions. So in e-commerce, female purchasing power is rocketing the fuel to grow. They oversee 80% of consumer spending. And so one of the things that we've seen is when you are doing the action and you are getting exposed to it, you also understand the opportunities and the mishaps in each of the industries. And we're actually seeing that there are more and more women entrepreneurs and small businesses started by women, because they are actually the ones making the decision in the purchasing. So it's sort of like this: the more your kind of access to shopping and to making decisions, you kind of understand what the industry lacks. Just like for me, right? When I started Tinkerlust, I realized that there was an opportunity in pre-loved fashion, because when I tried to look for a solution, it didn't exist. So going back to this, because women are the ones spending in home furnishings, in vacations, in homes, in consumer electronics, they are also doing the research, they are also being exposed to all of these industries, and therefore they are the ones that are starting new companies and new opportunities in these industries. So this kind of gives you a background about the influx of women entrepreneurs in the past few years. However, even if there is an increase in women entrepreneurs, it's still not an equal balance. So right now, women entrepreneurs, I would say, make up less than 20% of all entrepreneurs in the tech space. And if you even look back in university, technology or MIS or computer science, females are a minority in these subjects. And there is many reasoning for it, right? And that's what we wanted to talk about now. So going back to this, yeah. So even though there is an increase in women starting companies, it's still not equal. And there is many reasons for it. Number one is defying social expectations. So here in Indonesia, we do have societal pressures that our culture is that after we get to a certain age, we get married, we have children, and that becomes our priority. And so we are defying social expectations. I mean, since I started Tinkerlust, I've had many employees come to me and they resign because they decide, okay, it's my time to have a family. I think the priority should be having children rather than my career. So that's number one. Number two is that digital ecosystem and the technology landscape is very male dominated. It is, when we talk about software and when we talk about computer science and digital technology, it is more men are there. So it's quite difficult for a female to penetrate that industry. Number three is an internal like self-conscious. Sometimes as women, we are not able to own our own accomplishments. Sometimes we kind of get timid or insecure. And number four is work-life balance. I think this is one of the most tricky as a mother and entrepreneur, is that it's very difficult to balance your professional life and your home life. And you always have difficulty to balance the two. And number five is limited access to funding. In a technology company, we require a lot of capital so that we can invest in creating the technology tools. Tinkerlust has raised more than $1.5 million so that we can build this website and serve our customers. But it wasn't easy to raise that money. At first, me and my founder, we raised it ourselves from our own money. And then after that, we approached many investors that were interested in e-commerce. And finally, we got from Jarum. They were very supportive in our vision and our mission, and they decided to become our partners. So there are many different reasons why there are not as many women entrepreneurs, and these are several. Women or men, when they start companies, they usually start companies that they're really passionate about finding the solution for. So going into this, women in leadership, as I mentioned, even if there is a growth in women entrepreneurs, it's still not balanced. But I wanted to kind of throw out this, this fact and this statistic. When there is a woman in leadership, 42%, there is a 42% greater return on sales and a 53% higher return on equity than the rest. So companies are actually doing better when there's a woman involved. And it goes back to the initial statistic that I had mentioned, which is women are making 80% of the decisions of the household. Therefore, when it kind of equates to leadership in the company, they have more context about the market because the market is predominantly women. So this is me and my co-founder. So we started together, Tinkerlust, and it's been a really great journey. We've definitely experienced a lot of challenges along the way. You know, we are very blessed and so grateful that we found partners, Jarum Group, GDP Ventures, that really support our vision and allow us to venture into experimenting and growing together. So that's I think one of the main reasons why we have gotten to this point. So there are many challenges, right, that I mentioned, but the best reason to start. So Guy Kawasaki, and to give you a little bit of background, Guy Kawasaki was the marketing head in Apple during the early days of Steve Jobs. And he says, the best reason to start an organization is to make meaning, to create a product or service that makes the world a better place. To create a product or service to make the world a better place, he says. So Guy Kawasaki believes that if you want to start something, it really has to be coming from your heart, because there are so many challenges along the way of entrepreneurship that if it doesn't come from the heart and it doesn't give impact to the world, you're gonna just give up and you're gonna quit along the way. So you need to have that driver. And if you guys want to start, which I think that, all of you are capable to start, or if you don't want to start a company, then join a company. Having this experience to understand what it takes to start and grow and scale a company is a very valuable experience, especially just graduating from undergrad. It allows you to take on roles that you might not have access to if you work at a larger organization. You have much more access to bigger problems. You have much more access to creating a bigger impact. And so I really strongly recommend. And if you ever want to have any questions, feel free to call me or DM me on Instagram. Okay, so how do you start? Number one is you identify and find a problem. As I mentioned, when you are around it, when you are understanding it, you're able to identify the opportunities and how your product can actually solve that problem. Number two is data. Gather as much credible data as possible. Not just on your computer, not just like simply start on Instagram. You can start as well on Tokopedia. You can start just selling to your friends or family. And if you have to, just offer your services for free in the beginning so that you can get more and more information. So I want to end this by kind of giving you guys a little thing to think about. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. So whatever you decide to do after college, understand that everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own challenges, and whatever you decide to do, whether it is go into the digital world, start a company, or work as an HR in a big company or a small company, understand that everybody has their own journey. And the most important thing is to understand all of the different contexts and how all of these puzzle pieces affect you as an individual and how you can kind of contribute in your own way. So with that, that's my last slide. And I think we are good on time. We're just at 1 hour. It's around 2 o'clock now. So I want to open it up for questions if you have any.
Mbak Umi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your lecture, Ms. Samira. And now we are in a question and answer session. For all our students, please ask the question directly and Ms. Samira will immediately answer. Don't worry about your language. Yeah? Asking question in Indonesian or so allowed, and will later be answered by Ms. Samira in English or in Indonesian.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Halo, mahasiswa.
Halo.
Saya mau nanya, Mbak.
Ya.
Silakan.
Ya, nama saya Sonia Evangeline. Saya mau bertanya tentang challenge yang nomor 5, kan ada limited access to funding ya?
Iya.
Nah, itu apakah sama kayak seperti mencari sponsor gitu ya, Mbak? Terima kasih.
Iya, iya banget, ya. Jadinya kalau misalnya limited access to funding itu, there has been a lot of research that kalau sebagai wanita in tech, it's actually harder for you to find funding. So that's what I mean. And kalau misalnya mau mencari funding, it's exactly like mencari sponsor. Tapi bedanya adalah kalau sponsor kan, it's for marketing purposes, right? It's like a partnership. So misalnya you're going to have an event and you want to have sponsors and you get them, so then you put their logo. And then that's it. That's all you do. Tapi kalau misalnya you ask for investors or funding, they own a piece of your company. And so not everybody wants to invest in you because it's sort of like a marriage, right? Kayak jodoh aja gitu. Jadinya lebih agak susah gitu mencari yang pas.
Oke.
Makasih ya, Mbak.
Ya.
Yang lain?
I wanted to ask a question, please. My name is Alvin Chandra. When we talk about e-commerce, as we can see that platforms such as Tokopedia and Shopee were giving a lot of discount code, free delivery, and even cashback. If you look at the standard business model, the way e-commerce run their businesses, they won't make any profit at all. If they keep giving discounts, free delivery, and cashback like that, how do they survive, and do they actually make any profit at all? Thank you.
Okay, that's a really good question. So here's the thing. That is why a lot of technology companies require investment, because they need a large amount of funding so that they can afford to hire the people to invest in these people and also allow for sales. At this point, many of the e-commerce are not profitable. But what they want to do is they want to, their main goal is growth. So going back a little bit, when a technology company decides to get funding and decides to expand, they have two goals. Number one is to become profitable, and number two is growth. When we talk about growth, it's just about market share. And when you say, oh, gimana caranya kalau misalnya mereka tuh selalu kasih diskon, tapi mereka bisa profitable atau enggak gitu. Nah, kalau misalnya mereka goalnya untuk profitability, they don't care about, they care only about profitability. Tapi kalau misalnya goalnya buat growth, they do not care about profitability. They care about market share. Karena kalau misalnya mereka udah menjadi nomor satu in profitability, they can change their business model just a little bit, and then they can grab the profit. Yeah, the revenue. So these companies are not built for 5 years or 10 years. They're built for 20 years kind of company, long term. Just like if we look kayak, kalau misalnya kita dibandingin sama Amerika ya, kita kan misal kayak 10 sampai 20 tahun behind America. So if you look at America, Amazon udah menjadi nomor satu. Tapi mereka tuh are not profitable for many years, sampai mereka udah dapat semua market share, dan mereka udah berani ada bargaining power buat naikin trigger buat revenue. So that's what these players are doing. Sekarang mereka are still competing with each other. Soalnya kalau misalnya satu yang mau if one increases their pricing, the market will go to the competitor. Yeah. So right now I want to tell you that it's a risky game. We don't know who's going to be the winner. Apalagi sekarang kayak head to head banget ya. Tapi kalau misalnya kita ngelihat Tokopedia udah di backing sama Alibaba. Terus Shopee udah di backing sama Singapore sama Jarum Group. Like they have a lot of money so that they can survive for the next 10 to 20 years. So their priority right now is just about how do we win the market share when we win the market share, then we turn on the profit, and then that's when. So it's very, very long term. Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you for your question. That's a really good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yang lainnya, segera.
Mau tanya,
Ya, silakan.
saya Safira. And
Yes.
how to build the step-stepnya. Tapi how to choose what we want to start gitu kayak. Is the most important is see the opportunity. We passionate at gitu. Mendingan kita bangun sesuatu yang kita emang tekunin di situ, suka di situ, atau kita harus lihat
Opportunity yang ada di luar.
Iya.
Jadinya
Jadinya kayaknya lihat dua-duanya sih. Soalnya banyak banget opportunity sekarang, banyak banget, tapi pasti kita kurang semangat. Dan kalau misalnya nggak ada semangat itu yang bikin capek, yang bikin kita mau give up easily gitu. So kayaknya emang harus ada dua-duanya. Kalau misalnya kita passionate, tapi opportunity-nya nggak ada, kayak mungkin agak sia-sia sedikit, you know, because we're the only one that really cares. Gitu, and it's not going to be able to scale. Nggak bisa menjadi lebih besar. Mungkin niche, mungkin sedikit aja, tapi nggak besar gitu. So, I think idealistically, you have to have passionate. Tapi as a business logic, you need to have the opportunity.
Oke, thank you Mbak jawabannya.
You're
Oke, yang
welcome.
lain?
Come on. Who else will ask?
Oke, kalau belum ada, mungkin dari saya boleh ya, Mbak Samira ya.
Boleh.
Pertama, presentasi yang luar biasa, yang keren, yang membuka wawasan kita semua. Bahkan, tadi kan diceritakan background-nya adalah ada psikologi, ada bisnis ya, gitu.
Iya.
Nah, itu sejalan, iya, sejalan dengan distinktif kita ataupun uniqueness kita di Fakultas Psikologi Pancasila, memang kita arahnya lari mau ke bisnis psikologi. Nah, bisnis psikologi lebih bagaimana mengajak adik-adik kita, mahasiswa kita tidak berpikir sebagai workers, tidak berpikir sebagai employee semata, tetapi dia berpikir sebagai business owner. How to be a good business owner, tetapi tidak terbatas pada goods ya, atau things yang tadi disampaikan tadi seperti second hand atau use. Nah, karena kita di psikologi, pertanyaannya adalah bisakah digital business ini khusus di jasa psikologi? Bagaimana membisniskan jasa psikologi secara digital? Seperti misalnya ada psikotest online, ya, lalu ada konseling online, dan sebagainya dan sebagainya. Itu menurut Mbak Samira prospeknya seperti apa dan bisakah ini berkembang? Karena seperti Udemy gitu ya, kalau kita lihat itu juga oke, lalu dan lain-lain. Tapi di Indonesia ada ruang guru, tapi menurut saya nggak psikologi, belum psikologi banget. Nah, karena kita ini background-nya psikologi, maka yang pertama, mungkinkah bisnis jasa psikologi itu kita digitalize? Itu yang pertama ya. Yang kedua, tertarik tadi dengan circular economy. Ya. Circular economy memang ujungnya adalah harus zero waste ya. Nggak boleh ada waste gitu. Itu saya kira itu ramah lingkungan dan saya kira itu kita setuju dengan itu. Nah, persoalannya adalah banyak sekali orang ibu-ibu ya, terus seperti istri saya saja gitu, itu menyangkut behavior-nya. Bagaimana tidak menyimpan barang yang tidak dipakai, tapi kalau mau dibuang dia marah, kan gitu. Jadi ini kan udah nggak dipakai nih, mau dikasih orang aja gitu ya, atau ngapain sih gitu ya? Nggak apa-apa disimpannya sampai kapan nggak tahu. Akhirnya misalnya contoh mulai dari makanan gitu ya. Itu kan waste-nya itu banyak banget ya, lalu macam-macam ya, pakaian, lipstick itu atau obat-obatan gitu ya, kita lihat di rumah kita masing-masing itu Nah, ini kan menyangkut habit, menyangkut mindset, menyangkut behavior. And then how to change to shifting the paradigm from conventional business behavior to digital behavior gitu, yang semuanya harus bisa dimonetize gitu. Itu kan juga perlu satu pemahaman yang baik tentang consumer behavior. Jadi psikologi lagi. Yang terakhir nih, kalau berkenan, saya sebagai dekan ingin mengundang Mbak Samira nanti menjadi dosen di Fakultas Psikologi Universitas Pancasila. Apakah dosen tetap atau tidak tetap itu doesn't matter, tapi undangan saya ini resmi untuk membangun, untuk mengembangkan business sense adik-adik kita, untuk menjadi business owner yang luar biasa di bidang jasa psikologi. Itu kira-kira dulu Mbak Umi. Saya terima kasih Mbak Samira, dan luar biasa kita appreciate. Dan supaya kita ini tidak hanya berhenti di sini, tapi ada terus kerjasamanya di masa yang akan datang. Silakan.
Oke, jadinya thank you so much for your questions.
Oke, silakan Miss Samira.
I mean, kalau misalnya, I wish in my university ada kayak gitu, soalnya di university waktu di Amerika itu nggak ada business psychology, jadinya makanya aku ambil economics sama psychology. But yeah, it's I think psychology of consumerism too, it's very interesting actually, how we get affected by you know, kayak dipanas-panasin gitu sama teman-teman lah. It's all psychology and how the trends are being affected, right? So the first one is how in the digital business, how do we monetize psychology? Sebenarnya we see it pelan-pelan, we see it pelan-pelan. It's not so obvious, but there's many ways. Number one is psychology is actually a service. So like therapy, you know, psychiatry, we can actually see many services coming online. Jadinya, a lot of these clinical services are actually through Skype. So that's one of the ways that the psychology industry is coming online. Number two is the HR. One of the psychology is human resources and human resource management. We see a lot of these software as a services being created. Kayak Talenta, Sleeker, it's all about human management. And another one is called Happy Five, which is it's a mobile application which we give to our team members, and we are able to ask them each day, how happy are you? And they answer a questionnaire every single day. And we are able to absorb the data and understand how happy and what's their mental and emotional state of them in the company. These are all on technology. So those are a few ways that we can bring our psychology and turn them into tools online. Tapi they do not replace psychologists or the discipline of psychology, but they support and enhance it. And not only that, they give it, it's allowing us to become more accessible. Jadinya psychology becomes more accessible to us. So kalau misalnya we have someone going through depression and we want them to see a psychologist, kita langsung bisa nyari online gitu. So that's an example. It doesn't replace, it enhances. Other ways is, you know, psychology lectures. Obviously, you can create your own platform or your own website, things like that. So I think that, I hope that answered your question a little bit about how we can monetize our education, our psychology background, right? And how psychology professionals can use technology to enhance their career. So the second question was, how do we shift the mental, the perspective, right? Of people that are so used to a certain way. And I want to tell you, this is one of the the hardest things that we can do, because this is undoing many years of habit and behavior. So to understand how to change it, it actually has to come from us, and we already have triggers. Kayak misalnya, like we have triggers on what we do and what we don't do and why we don't do certain things. So for example, if your wife doesn't want to let go of her things, maybe she's like, oh, you know what, I worked very hard to get this. So it's like her understanding, right, of maybe scarcity. So she needs to go back to a place where like kayak hampir kayak harus almost repetition. We need to break her habit, and that comes from you reminding her own research, her own internal motivation. So I think that in other countries, like in the US, in Europe, this is ingrained karena society-nya udah kayak education-nya udah jalan gitu. So jadinya udah kayak behavior of society becomes behavior of the individual. Kan? Tapi kalau misalnya di Indonesia itu masih susah banget. Tinkerlust aja susah banget penetrate seumuran ibu aku gitu, kayak susah banget gitu. Kayak I'm always like, mah temennya ini dong suruh jualan di Tinkerlust. Tapi kayak
susah banget
ya. Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah. Karena emang it's very foreign to them. Kayak kita belajar TikTok itu kan, Snapchat itu sangat foreign to us, and anything foreign is just scary gitu kan. Kita nggak tahu how it works dan lain-lain. So I think it really comes from education and kayak kebiasaan, so habit. So number 3 is I will think about it for your. I was actually dulu tuh aku lecture di BINUS. So I used to teach at BINUS for a couple of years in marketing. So yeah, but I stopped when I had children because it was hard for me to manage. But yeah. I'm very open to it. So I would.
We have some subject that you maybe can help us to deliver, like consumer behavior, and then human-computer interaction, and also HR analytic, yeah, and also the entrepreneurship that me and Pak Dudi Salam that is also there in our class here. We need to combine between practitioner and academician.
Yeah.
Because this is the lack in our atmosphere university in Indonesia. So bagi saya mengundang teman-teman pebisnis praktisi seperti Samira justru memperkuat kami-kami yang di akademisi untuk link and match antara praktisi dan akademisi. Sehingga ini menjadi sebuah kekuatan yang luar biasa dalam rangka sustainability daripada university itu sendiri maupun survival dari adik-adik kita nanti waktu dia terjun ke lapangan, dia paradigmanya, mindset-nya itu sudah mindset intrapreneur atau entrepreneur gitu Samira, sehingga dia lebih mudah tune in. Mungkin in term of intellectuality, misalnya inteligensi mungkin ya kita di UP ya bagus, tetapi tidak sebagus mungkin yang dari state university mungkin ya, walaupun itu debatable. Tapi ketika dia memiliki karakter yang bagus, memiliki nasionalisme yang bagus di Pancasila, tapi juga dia memiliki sebuah passion untuk membangun usaha baik untuk dirinya maupun orang lain, saya kira itu akan memberikan nilai tambah bagi alumni-alumni kita di masa yang akan datang. Gitu sih kira-kira.
Oke. Thank you so much.
Ya, sama-sama. Silakan Mbak Umi, ada yang lain itu.
Boleh nanya ya, Mas Samira, may I ask question?
Yes.
You are already comfortable living in America. Now, why now choose to live and do business in Indonesia? What is so special about Indonesia for you?
Okay, sure. So jadinya kan I moved back 5 tahun yang lalu. So 5 tahun yang lalu sama sekarang tuh Indonesia perkembangannya wow banget sih, luar biasa banget. 5 tahun yang lalu udah bisa kelihatan bahwa ekonomi di sini tuh it's gonna be one of the best in Southeast Asia, and the growth malahan ya very very aggressive in Asia. So kalau misalnya dibandingin di Amerika, I felt individually. So that's kalau misalnya kita lihat in terms of the country aja, yeah, that's the reason, yeah, there's so much growth in Indonesia compared to the States. Tapi kalau misalnya ngelihat dari saya sendiri, I felt like I can give more of an impact here in my home country. Jadinya even if I was raised in the States, I think that my parents gave me a very strong foundation to be in Eastern culture and Eastern values, so I always felt at home here in Indonesia. And with that, with the combination of me feeling that I can give more impact and also the growth of the country as a whole, I felt like it was the best time to come back. And I also feel like kalau misalnya dulu lihat expat like misalnya 10 sampai 15 tahun yang lalu, mungkin yang lebih mature ya, tapi sekarang expatnya tuh muda-muda. Soalnya mereka juga ngelihat bahwa di Indonesia tuh opportunity-nya gede banget. So kita tuh kalau misalnya company-company yang dari Singapura, dari Vietnam, mereka banyak banget ke Indonesia karena mereka lihat marketnya emang besar banget. So that's one of the reasons that I came back. And yeah, I feel like it's a very great time to be here, a very great time to learn as well. Yeah. So I mean, we're very lucky to be in a place where even though we're still developing, it's developing at a very very fast rate.
Okay, thank you, Miss Samira.
Boleh nanya? Ya, silakan Mas Dudi.
Kang Dudi.
Boleh ya? Ya, ya. Halo Samira, selamat siang, selamat sore ya. Saya Dudi Samira. Saya temannya Mas Sony sama temannya Mbak Umi di Pancasila. Banyak sih pertanyaan yang ingin disampaikan karena presentasinya buat saya sangat impresif ya. Paling tidak banyak poin-poin baru menyangkut ekonomi digital lah kalau istilah saya. Itu yang disampaikan oleh Samira tadi ya. Boleh tanya beberapa pertanyaan ya, Samira? Oke. Yang pertama, tadi sudah disinggung sih sebetulnya. Ini soal objektif dari yang namanya startup ya. Saya kira sih bukan hanya pertanyaan ini bukan hanya datang dari saya, tapi juga dari teman-teman saya yang juga berbisnis gitu ya. Mereka masih mempertanyakan what is the main objective of startup business in Indonesia gitu. Mereka punya kesan startup itu bakar-bakar duit katanya gitu kan ya. Bakar-bakar uang nggak jelas gitu. Tadi Samira sudah menjelaskan bahwa it depends on the company objective ya. Apakah objektifnya mau achieve katakanlah profitability atau mau membesarkan market share gitu ya. Tapi tetap isunya sama. Sampai kapan gitu mereka bisa bertahan dengan cara seperti itu gitu. Dan terbukti kan beberapa startup juga banyak yang rontok gitu loh. Jadi mohon dijelaskan lebih jauh soal ini ya. Yang kedua, ini kebetulan, ini kalau boleh dibilang ini juga pertanyaan mahasiswa saya di kelas kewirausahaan dan ekonomi kreatif, Samira. Salah satu topik yang kita diskusikan, kita bahas di dalam mata kuliah itu adalah competitive analysis dari Michael Porter ya. Nah, pertanyaan mereka adalah, terus terang saya sudah jawab, cuma saya sendiri belum puas dengan jawaban yang saya berikan kepada mereka. Ini soal aspek substitute product ya. Jadi dalam teorinya kan substitute product itu
bisa dalam pengertian ada satu raw material yang baru itu mengganti raw material yang lain yang barangkali harganya lebih murah gitu ya. Misalnya ambil contoh botol kecap itu dulu kan raw materialnya dari kaca, dari beling ya. Tapi kemudian itu berubah jadi plastik gitu. Dan itu ternyata lebih laku, lebih banyak dibeli orang gitu. Karena dari sisi harga memang lebih murah gitu ya. Substitute juga bisa dalam pengertian how to deliver the product gitu kan. Ya mungkin kalau mau ambil contoh yang ngetren, orang dulu kalau mau beli buku kan misalnya yang ada di mindset tuh kita taunya Gramedia misalnya. Kemudian kita datang ke Gramedia, nongkrong di sana, lihat buku berjam-jam, terus baru beli. Tapi kemudian dengan teknologi informasi kan itu apa istilahnya didisrupsi ya, sehingga orang cukup istilahnya ngeklik beberapa tools di handphone, udah terjadilah transaksi beli buku gitu ya. Nah pertanyaannya adalah, ini pertanyaan bagus sih dari mahasiswa saya. Kira-kira apa Pak yang akan menjadi substitute produk dari dari teknologi informasi ini? Ada nggak kira-kira nanti ada substitute produknya gitu? Misalnya nanti Gojek tuh hilang gitu, kemudian Wikipedia juga hilang gitu ya. Apa substitute produknya gitu ya? Saya terusnya nggak bisa jawab. Saya cuma bilang kepada mereka, jujur saya tidak tahu nih, karena ini persoalannya kan, istilahnya driver itu adalah teknologi gitu. Jadi kalaupun itu bisa disubstitute, dikalahkan gitu kira-kira gitu, itu harus dengan teknologi juga. Saya jawabannya baru sampai sebatas itu tuh, agak susah. Makanya saya mohon pencerahan dari Samira. Gitu kan Mas Adi?
Iya, keren.
Oke, yang ketiga. Ya kalau Samira kan sudah on practice sebagai let's say digitalized business gitu ya. Kalau saya baru sebatas baca-baca lah sama ngobrol-ngobrol sama Mas Sony gitu. Pertanyaan ini sih pertanyaan normatif. Sebetulnya kalau bicara dari marketing, dari market development-nya, ya kita bisa bilang bahwa startup di Indonesia barangkali masih di tahap kalau embryonik enggak juga kali ya, dia udah lebih maju lah ke tahap
jadi bisnis cycle-nya.
Betul, bisnis cycle-nya. Nah ini saya pengen dapat pencerahan juga dari sisi itu, dari sisi bisnis cycle atau perkembangan pasar, ada di tahap mana bisnis startup sekarang ini atau bisnis digital sekarang ini
di Indonesia.
Di Indonesia. Itu yang ketiga. Masih boleh nggak?
Terakhir.
Tadinya pengen ngomong soal nasionalisme Mas, tapi kejauhan kali ya.
Iya.
Ini saya juga pengen dapat assessment from your perspective, Namira. Namira betul ya?
Samira.
Sorry, Samira. Ya. Jadi paling tidak secara teoritis lah yang kita pahami di paling nggak di puskanya psikologi bisnis ya di Pancasila, bahwa yang namanya ekonomi berbasis pengetahuan, di mana salah satu produknya itu adalah digitalisasi atau ekonomi kreatif, itu paling tidak mempersyaratkan 4 hal. Kalau kita merefer pada pengalaman negara-negara maju ya. Yang pertama adalah adanya satu tata kelola pemerintahan atau government yang istilahnya transparan gitu ya. Siap dengan keterbukaan informasi, siap untuk memudahkan perizinan gitu ya. Siap untuk mensimplifikasi birokrasi. Nah itu di poin government. Dua, tadi sudah disinggung soal talented skill atau orang-orang yang terdidik gitu ya, terdidik dan mahir. Mungkin di Indonesia kalau yang sekolah banyak, gitu, tapi kan yang berpikir mungkin tidak banyak gitu. Kemudian yang berikutnya adalah menyangkut infrastruktur telekomunikasi. Infrastruktur telekomunikasi yang dimaksud adalah seberapa luas, seberapa besar jaringan infrastruktur telekomunikasi di Indonesia itu sudah istilahnya mulai dari kota besar sampai ke kabupaten kota, kecamatan, desa, bahkan sampai ke pelosok-pelosok pantai dan gunung gitu ya, kira-kira gitulah. Nah, yang terakhir adalah itu yang disebut innovation. Innovation itu kaitannya dengan pusat-pusat R&D ya, research and development. Misalnya pertanyaannya adalah ini kan berlaku di mana saja. Misalnya bagaimana R&D di perusahaan-perusahaan swasta. Yang saya tahu misalnya karena saya juga pernah dulu bekerja di perusahaan swasta, beberapa perusahaan swasta multinasional terutama dari Eropa dan Amerika udah keren lah gitu ya misalnya. Tapi bagaimana dengan perusahaan-perusahaan yang lain yang ada di Indonesia nih? Kemudian bagaimana R&D di katakanlah pemerintahan termasuk BUMN sudah seberapa berkembang, seberapa maju gitu ya penelitian-penelitian, riset-riset yang mereka lakukan. Di kita kan ada LIPI, ada macam-macam. Kemudian yang tidak kalah penting sebetulnya adalah R&D di lembaga pendidikan seperti universitas. Nah, keempat hal ini katanya, ini kalau sekali lagi kalau kita merefer atau berkaca pada pengalaman di negara maju, keempat hal ini harus in place dulu gitu loh. Baru kita ngomong soal ekonomi kreatif, ekonomi digital, ekonomi berbasis pengetahuan, dan seterusnya, dan seterusnya. Kira-kira itu sih Mas Sony, Mbak Umi.
Ya, silakan.
Okay. So going back to the first question, when do companies stop burning, right? Jadinya the life of a startup itu ada beberapa.
Halo Sim.
Halo terus.
Asim.
Ya kok mati Mas?
Iya mungkin dari Samiranya.
Dari Samiranya kayaknya.
Oke.
Di WA aja Mbak mungkin.
Ya, oke.
Apa problemnya?
Ada masalah Samira.
Mungkin internetnya kali.
Samira ada masalah.
Di WA aja Mbak.
Ya, oke. Iya Mas.
Kalau kita mau oke semua nih. Halo mahasiswa masih ada?
Halo.
Halo mahasiswa.
Masih Pak.
Mantap. Satu biru.
Biru Pancasila.
Bulan Ramadan.
Gimana? Oke nggak? Oke nggak Mbak Samira? Mantap ya?
Pak.
Mantap ya?
Mantap
Mantap
banget.
itu.
Ya,
Kalau jadi dosen kita gimana? Oke nggak itu?
oke Pak.
Mancing mania.
Mantap.
Halo.
Itu ada Mbak Nani itu kayaknya di mana itu? Di Jogja atau di Brebes itu?
Saya di sini Mbak, di Depok.
Halo Mbak Nani.
Iya, apa kabar?
Mbak Nani.
Problem Samira.
Iya.
Lagi ngapain sih Mbak Nani?
Iya, lagi baru nih saya
Oh iya.
Iya, aduh.
Kita tungguin dari tadi.
Ini sampai kapan kita nih liburnya ya?
Sampai akhir semester.
Di Gundar sampai akhir semester, Mbak?
Kalau pengumuman resmi sampai tanggal 29 Mei.
Mei. Oh, kalau kita di UP sampai kapan tuh?
Sampai tanggal
11 Mei.
2 Mei kan ya?
2 Mei.
2 Mei, Pak.
Pak, 2 Mei.
Berarti setelah 2 Mei kita ke kampus gitu?
Iya.
Iya, Pak.
Iya, Pak.
Jadi kalian pengennya ketemu di kampus gitu?
Iya Pak, pengen di kampus.
Kampus dong Pak.
Aja, Pak.
Udah
Kampus, Pak.
Tapi bawa masker nggak?
Bawa, Pak, bawa. Pakai.
Ya, oke. Jadi
Bikin bilik disinfektan aja, Pak.
udah saya siapin disinfektan. Kamu tinggal pakai.
Cakep udah.
Ada masalah ya, Mak?
Cakep udah tuh, Pak.
Ruangan-ruangannya juga udah saya semprot semua, udah aman.
Sorry about that.
Tinggal kalian aja semangat belajarnya.
Semangat,
Semangat, Pak.
Ya. Tadi si Arifin tuh mana? Arifin tuh dosen kita atau mahasiswa kita? Alvin atau Arifin?
Alvin, Pak. Alvin, Pak.
Mana orangnya?
Alvin, Pak.
Arifin menarik.
Arifin.
Alfie, sorry.
Mana? Oh, Samira udah Arifin. Yes, okay. No problem.
We had an internet.
Yes.
Internet problem.
Okay, Samira.
Okay, so going back, number one, when do companies
Stop
stop
burning.
earning money? So that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people who are not in the tech industry are wondering, like, why do you start a business to lose money? So, misalnya, I ask my mom or dad for advice, and I tell them, oh iya, kita pengeluarannya kayak gini. Oh, tapi revenue-nya gimana? And I'm just like, ya belum, profitnya belum ada. Terus ya ngapain gitu? Udah beberapa tahun gitu, you know? So it's basically very hard to understand. But the reason is because we're investing in creating the tech infrastructure and in the marketing growth. So what is our exit strategy? For us, kita udah bisa concentrate on profitability. Soalnya udah mencapai titik itu gitu, karena that's just like what we decided to do. But other companies, what happens for them is they end up merging with other companies so that they can have more resources to compete, and oftentimes it's not a choice that they decide on. Usually it happens naturally that they're like, oh kayaknya bentar lagi kita profitable, dan juga kalau misalnya bentar lagi mereka profitable, mereka kayak, tapi kalau misalnya kita expand ABC, we can grab more market share. So then they decide to use that profit to invest, and then they continue that again so that they become bigger and bigger. So that's what we see happening, right? So they could be profitable, but they end up growing. Or the other option is they merge with another company. And the third option is they eventually do not make it. So it's kind of like, it's very risky. And I think that it all depends on the time and the business climate. Right now with COVID, we see a lot of companies struggling because investors are not ready to support their burn anymore. So they want them to be standing alone without that outside investment. So we will see a lot of companies that tadinya mungkin depend on outside investment, mungkin mereka terpaksa lay off buat menjadi profitable sendiri gitu. Yeah. So the second one is how will there ever be a replacement to technology? I think so, but we won't. It will be so subtle because a lot of technology development and evolution has been very subtle. Jadinya kayak it's not that oh we have an iPhone hari ini, tapi kayak kita dari telepon terus telepon seluler yang segede ini jadi segini kecil-kecil, terus ada yang pakai keyboard, terus akhirnya ada iPhone. So and then headphones juga gitu. Sekarang ada yang Bluetooth. So it's not that they become replaced. It's almost that they evolve, and they evolve better and better and better and slower, that you think it's actually a replacement kalau dibandingin 5 tahun, tapi in those 5 years, it's so many small changes. The third one is, what cycle is our startup? Okay, in what cycle is the startup ecosystem right now? In my opinion, we are in the second wave of the startup ecosystem. The first wave was around 5 to 6 years ago, where many of the founders were local Indonesian, and local Indonesian, there wasn't a lot of VC money, there wasn't a lot of venture capital. Sekarang there's so much venture capital, not only in Indonesia, dari Singapura, dari Southeast Asia, dari China, coming into Indonesia, and they are creating more mature and more scalable companies. So kalau misalnya dibandingin company sekarang yang baru launching daripada company 5 tahun yang lalu, dulu tuh the first stage of investment mungkin $100,000, sekarang $5 juta. So it's like growing very fast. Caliber of founders juga lebih tinggi, ekspektasinya lebih tinggi juga. Dulu mungkin lulus kuliah langsung dipercaya lah, misalnya kayak foundernya Tokopedia, dia lulus dari BINUS, terus abis itu launching Tokopedia langsung dikasih dana, and then Tokopedia jadi. Tapi sekarang kita ngelihatnya foundersnya tuh umurnya udah mature, udah ada professional experience, so there's a lot of competition. So we see the founders different stage, and also the money involved is different stage, and also the kind of companies that are being built are a different stage. Maksudnya different stage tuh kayak lebih berbobot lah, lebih banyak smarter people, smarter technology, smarter skill set juga. Kayak employees-nya kan misalnya 5 tahun yang lalu tuh nggak banyak experience in digital UI, UX, product, software engineers juga kurang. Sekarang there's more of the human resources. So I think right now in the life cycle we're still very not mature at all. We're like in our elementary years. Kita belum teenage, kita juga belum kuliah, tapi elementary years. Tapi kita udah nggak TK lagi gitu. Bukan kayak yang lucu-lucu kayak happy-happy, enggak. Kayak udah kayak mulai belajar yang betul gitu, kayak udah harus kayak gitu sih. Tapi kalau dibandingin negara-negara lain, we're still behind. Okay, so the fourth one is are private companies investing in innovation and R&D? Kayak what is this happening? Sekarang it is happening. We see that there are more and more happening, but it is very difficult for R&D to happen inside of a company, because just like tadi I mentioned how individuals have certain habits, so do companies. So even if they invest, belum pasti mereka kayak mencapai kesuksesan dengan R&D ini. So what we see sekarang kayak Mandiri, BCA, mereka punya kayak venture capital in which they invest in these companies that can complement with them. Juga sama Sinarmas, Lipo, they have a venture arm that they invest daripada mereka sendiri yang do the R&D. Karena the team members, the employees within that company were not recruited to create new innovation. But these startups are there to create new innovation. So menurut mereka, mendingan I invest in people who their job is to innovate daripada I invest in my own people gitu. That mungkin their job was not to invest. So what we see is these private companies, that's what they're doing. Dari banyak sih, dari Bakri ke Sinarmas, and and also kayak misalnya like in food and health juga, they rather invest daripada bikin sendiri sih. Yes.
Oke. Cukup kayaknya. Terima kasih Samira atas jawabannya.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much for trusting me with your students. I'm very happy and very appreciative that this opportunity, Tante Umi, thank you for giving this opportunity as well for me to share.
Oke, mungkin Mas Hasim?
Ya.
Any question, Mas Hasim?
Ya, mungkin.
Masih ada, oke.
Ya. Okay, let me introduce. My name is Hashim, Miss Samira. Pertanyaan saya simpel sih sebenarnya. Menyambung pertanyaan Mas Sony tadi, ternyata saya melihat ini sebagai suatu solusi sih, sebagai sebuah intervensi ketika barang yang tidak terpakai itu mau dikemanain gitu kan. Banyak perempuan-perempuan sekarang yang memiliki tas, pakaian itu banyak hanya menggantung di lemari saja, tapi mereka tidak tahu mesti dikemanain ini gitu kan. Kadang-kadang saya juga sebagai suami beli ini, terus tapi yang dipakai itu aja yang dulu nggak pernah dipakai, gitu kan. Nah, pertanyaan pertama, how did you foresee this opportunity? Artinya gini, apa sih yang pertama kali Samira lihat kesempatan apa yang pertama kali membuat Samira membuat bisnis ini gitu kan? Nah itu yang saya ingin. Tadi kan sempat dijelaskan ada 4 step how to start gitu kan, like identify, solve, data, and start gitu kan. Nah apakah Samira melakukan misalnya kayak semacam kayak survei kecil-kecilan atau bahkan mungkin survei beneran itu untuk membangun bisnis ini gitu kan. Nah yang pertanyaan kedua, apakah tidak ingin melirik kelas menengah ke bawah, karena yang tadi sempat saya lihat di aplikasinya itu, wah ini artis semua ini yang pernah beli, kayak Luna Maya, ada Andin, ada siapa artis kelas-kelas top semua gitu kan. Ini ketika orang login, ketika orang melihat aplikasi ini, wah ini udah kelasnya udah atas banget gitu kan. Nah tapi di belakang kita tuh banyak banget perempuan-perempuan yang kelas menengah ke bawah yang sepertinya perlu juga difasilitasi itu gitu kan. Karena ini bagi saya ini merupakan solusi dan sebuah intervensi juga gitu untuk menampung unused item gitu kan. Nah, kira-kira nih Samira, apakah akan melirik juga kelas menengah ke bawah, kira-kira membuat satu aplikasi startup dengan menjual atau menyediakan
segmentasinya di bawah.
Ya, atau barang-barang yang memang nggak branded amat, tapi memang diperlukan di kalangan bawah. Itu sih pertanyaan simpel dari saya. Terima kasih sebelumnya, Samira.
Pertanyaan yang pertama, the opportunity that I had, the opportunity that I started. The reason why we okay. So going back to the first question, why did I start this company? There was 2 reasons. Yang pertama adalah the opportunity that I saw when I figured out there was a problem. Jadinya sebenarnya itu dari conversation with me and my partner, aku pengen jualan deh, di mana ya? Oh ya bisa di OLX atau di carousel, tapi kayak kita harus foto sendiri kan. So I wanted a place where it was much easier to sell. So I created something like Tinkerlust. Tapi yang kedua adalah, dan kayaknya yang driver yang lebih tinggi adalah, I saw these types of companies in other parts of the world yang emang udah successful. Jadinya di Amerika udah ada kayak 3 comparable company, di Eropa juga ada, di Australia, di Jepang juga ada. So I realized, di Indonesia juga bisa ada juga, tapi kita harus bikin lebih localized aja. So we launched di Indonesia, and we took a little bit dari sini, dari situ, dari sini, to kind of create Tinkerlust di sini gitu. So I think when we started adalah karena dari keinginan kita sendiri dengan punya produk kayak gini, platform kayak gini.